I'm Jennifer, owner of Huntress Florals Design Studio. With over 20 years of event and design experience, I'm excited to welcome you to our educational offerings. We'll share foundational floral design mechanics, business practices, as well as our signature Huntress design aesthetic. I hope these videos inspire the unique Huntress within you and can't wait to see the beautiful creations you bring to life. Thank you for being part of our community, and I'll see you next time. In this video, I'm going to share with you a DIY floral arrangement using Trader Joe's flowers or grocery store flowers, just the local product that you can get on your own and make an elevated, beautiful design. When you go to Trader Joe's or your local grocery store, you want to look for certain things. So you want to make sure that when you're selecting blooms, roses should be, sort of a tighter bud. When they're blown open, the lifespan is gonna be shorter. So they're already opening up. So you wanna look for tighter buds. Make sure that your leaves and flowers aren't wilty or damaged. Just sort of look in at the leaves too, because things can get moldy inside as well. Look for any brown spots. One of my biggest pet peeves are like when you're selecting flowers at Trader Joe's or something, when you pick up roses or out of the bundle, just don't hang them over the other roses, because when they drip, it damages the other petals. That's when you see brown spots on the roses, that's what that's from. Little tip, little hack. So I would say like 3 to 4 flowers in different varieties, and then greenery, which some of this I actually foraged just in my neighborhood. So don't take out of neighbors' yards without asking, but I've been known to just like stealth clip down alleyways and things like that. So I also like to save and repurpose a lot of this stuff. Definitely recycle cellophane, the plastic, and rubber bands and things like that. But yeah, remove the leaves, the lower leaves, give everything a fresh cut, and put it into water to hydrate for at least a little while. I usually do it overnight, but you can just a few hours or even just a few minutes will help their life cycle. All right, so also when you're cutting and processing your flowers, I would also use the flower food that comes with them. That'll just help nourish your blooms as well. And another thing, I'm using some hydrangea, which is scary to a lot of people. I think it's a really hardy flower and it's a great base, but it does tend to wilt in certain conditions. So one trick we use for this is alum. This you can find in the spice section. And all you do is just cut your stem, dip it into the alum, and then put it into the water. And that'll keep it extra hydrated, a little extra flower food. And yeah, like I said, just let them drink for as long as you can, or until you're ready to design. And then we all have, our favorite vases that you hold on to, keep under your sink or whatever. This, I really love vintage finds. So this is one of my favorite vintage estate sale finds. Just a typical vase. So I'm gonna start with that. But what you'll do is just fill it. I usually go about like an inch from the top. Maybe a little bit lower at first, just to design with cool to room temperature water. The best way to start is really just to green your vase first. This will help hold the rest of your blooms in place, like where you put them. And you'll see as we build and layer, it'll all come together. So I'm gonna take some of these foraged blooms. And as I said, just make sure that none of the leaves fall below the water line, because that's how the bacteria gets in, and that will make your arrangement sad sooner. We want to make these last as long as we can. And really there's no, I kind of look at both sides. How do I want the greens to flow out? This just gives it more dimension and movement. But there's no way to mess it up. Just, you know, design intuitively. And I just like to look at nature a lot and just see how things grow naturally. And they'll kind of tell you what they want to do anyway. And you also want to think about where you're going to place your floral design. So you might want to do like a one-sided if it's going to be against a wall. You don't need to worry so much about the back, only the front. You know, just think about that, sort of where the placement is going to be. If it's going to be low on a coffee table, or if you want people to be able to speak over it, you might want something lower and longer. This I'm just sort of going with an everyday DIY. And then next I'm going to take my base flower. So I'm going to use the hydrangea because it is the biggest, it's the most full, it takes up the most space in the vase. And I'm going to put that right, you can kind of gauge like this, just hold your stem to your vase to kind of show you where to cut. So if I want the top of that bloom to fall right there at the top of the vase, I'm just going to cut that accordingly. I kind of just want her to rest right in there. And since I'm making sort of an arrangement that you're going to see from all sides, I'm just going to keep using my Lazy Susie. If you can ever find stock, it's a pretty inexpensive flower, but this is one of my all-time favorites. It's so fragrant. And I like this one because it will add height. So the other thing I like to do is kind of have the base, but then also you want something for height. So I'm going to leave these a little bit taller. And don't be afraid to sort of have it go out to the sides too. I want this to take up some space, kind of be heard in the room. And as you can see now, I kind of have some symmetry going on as well. It looks a little crazy right now, but as you build, you'll see it starts to come together. Next, I'm going to put in my focal flowers. So these pretty roses. If you want them to open up a little bit, you can just spin them kind of from the top of the stem. Oops. And I also like to remove the guard petals. So you'll want to take these, the petals that are on the outside. They're usually a little bit discolored. Those are protecting the interior petals. And once you remove those, it'll allow it to open up more as well. I'm just going to tuck those in. I'm also trying to add sort of layers and dimension. So things are on different planes. You can also remove these guard petals in advance. Typically I'll do that when I process the flowers. I'll remove the petals as well. And you see I'm kind of mimicking on both sides. Since this is going to be seen all around, I'm kind of, if I do it on this side, I'm going to do sort of the same on this side as well. It keeps your eye flowing around the arrangement and keeps it interesting. I'm going to throw off a little bit and go a little bit higher too with some of these. And don't be afraid, I left the, the petals on the roses that are higher up. I like just those tucking sort of in and out. Again, just adds more texture and dimension too. I also like to sort of think in threes and like triangle shapes so you can see how that all sort of comes together. And then after the focal flowers, I've got the base, the height, you know, the line flowers, the focal flowers. I'm gonna add in some fun texture. Once you get into a rhythm, the flowers just sort of tell you where they wanna go. And yeah, you can't really go wrong because they're just so beautiful on their own anyway. I like to sort of take a step back sometimes and look at every angle, because now this is sort of the fun part where you can fill in any gaps and just play, you know, make it fun. It's not hard. You won't get stuck. Like, you can always move something if you don't like it. I do that all the time still. You know, I might put something in and then I'm like, oh no, that does not work there. Let's try another one. I'm gonna add some more pop of yellow in here. And again, I'm just sticking this directly into that hydrangea at an angle too. So that's I'm not just putting everything down directly. Everything's sort of going in at an angle. The nice thing is you get so many flowers too, so I'm not even using all of the bunch that I got. So you can make little arrangements just to have little bud vases around your house. You know, use those extras. Even if you just put a single bloom into a bud vase and put it in your bathroom or your vanity, it's just like a nice little touch to have flowers in all areas of your house. Keep an eye on it. You want to change the water daily if possible, or every other day. And when you change the water, you can just give everything a fresh cut too. That'll extend the life as well. All right, I think I'm happy with the flowers. I'm just gonna add a few more of these greens in, and then she'll be done. The other thing, you just don't wanna place this anywhere where the sun is really bright. They like cooler temperatures, so don't put them in a hot window or near a heater. Just taking those easy Trader Joe flowers, and rather than just plopping them into a vase, it didn't take very long. You know, it's really easy just to make a more upscale arrangement, something more visually appealing and interesting. Hopefully that helps. The other thing you can do is, like, a lot of these flowers naturally, some of them have a longer life cycle than others, so you know, just keep an eye on it, and as things die, you can pluck those out and just keep making new arrangements every day, so you get something different, you know, for days to come. All right, I hope that this inspires the Huntress within you. Thank you so much for being part of our circle, and I will see you soon.